Ambition often is looked at as it needs to go hand in hand with unrest, burnout, all the things, but you literally cannot build anything from a place of burnout. It's just not possible. So let's make sure that that's not your norm nor your reality, and let's talk about it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Cozy and Thriving, where we just learn to build a life that we actually want to be present for. I'm your host, Mikayla, and I am so excited about today's episode. I know I literally say that every single week. It's just a part of what comes after what I say, like that little intro part. I have no idea why, but that's what comes out. However, I actually am, because I have been behind the scenes working some things out and figuring out like really what I need to do to make this podcast successful and make my career on social media successful. And I feel like I figured it out. And this podcast episode being like slow and resting and having that ambition all go hand in hand, and it really just feeds into the journey that I've been on with this podcast and my video editing business so far. So I'm so excited because it's like coming from a place of like true, this is what's going on right now. So before I get into the episode, I do want to just kind of share a little bit about what's happening and like what's going on in terms of my business and my podcast. So like I said last week, I'm not doing anything so terribly different with the podcast. It's still cozy. It's still building a life that you actually want to be present for. It's still all of those things, but it actually is going to go hand in hand with my social platforms and my business. I feel like I was trying to keep everything separate and have all of these separate tiny little brands under one umbrella, but I just love podcasting. I love it so much. My podcast just came from a place of like a girl who likes to yap, and I'm introverted. I love my own company, and this is like a place where I can just like talk and feel a little bit extroverted and build community and all of those things. And I love it. I absolutely love it. So I took that and my love for me podcasting and my love for honestly editing podcasts. I've had a few podcasts that I've edited for some clients, and I just love that as well. So I took that and I was just like, I need to build a cozy podcast like creative hub. And there's a lot of things that will come with the video editing, but for right now, I'm just offering certain packages. But there's a lot of other things that I want to add to the business later and down the line. And I think that it's going to be so fun. And for those of you guys who listen to the podcast every single week, you guys will get updates on it first because you guys are podcast listeners. You are part of the community. So I am just so over the moon excited about it. So if you are a podcaster and you're looking for an editor, I am your girl, and I will have other services coming very, very soon for you guys and for honestly for the podcast, like for everybody. It's just, I don't know. I'm so excited. I'm so happy that I finally found that one thing, and that I can like rest assured knowing that this is going to be a good thing. So anyways, let's get into this episode because I have so much to talk about ambition and resting. So I know that I have talked about on this podcast before that I am a girl with tunnel vision for sure. I see the end of the tunnel. I see the goal. I see where I want to go, and I will do everything in my power to get there, to the point where I'm literally working past the hours that I said that I don't want to work past. I am doing things at hours that I should be asleep. I am just too much. It's too much. And I find myself doing so much so fast that I get burnt out, and I'm like, I have to do a whole rebrand now because I stopped posting. I stopped talking about that. People aren't following me. So now I need to refresh to figure out like what people want to see, what people want to hear. And I will be very honest with you that I'm so proud of myself for having this podcast be as consistent as it has been. I feel like me being consistent has helped me grow this podcast to what it is and help me feel more confident in this podcast and what I'm saying. So the consistency and the tunnel vision honestly has helped. But I do know that there is a point to where I was doing too much, where I needed to sit down, where I needed to just take a break and allow my creativity to take a rest so that way I didn't get burnt out later. I am talking about my creative journey, but this can be for anything. This could be for a business or your creative journey or your social platforms or hobbies, like anything, literally anything that you put too much time into, or you start noticing that you're weighing it higher than things that should be higher on the list. Like, for instance, if I am wanting to spend time with my husband, but then at the same time, I'm like, okay, I need to build this business. So instead of us like hanging out or doing something together, I'm just going to keep working. I'm going to figure out like, what are you going to do tonight? Because I have to work. Like, to me, that is not where I want to be. To me, that seems like I'm putting work over my relationship, and my relationship is top priority. When I start putting my work over God, that is too much for me, because my number one priority should be and is my relationship with God. And so if I'm putting work or a hobby or something in place of spending time in those two places, it's too much for me. And that's not good, you guys. So what I've done is I've learned to choose one thing to just put like 100% focus in and figure out what that looks like, and then I can add and build on top. Like earlier when I was talking about me having some packages and things for my video editing business, there's things that I want to add later, but if I added all of them right now, I would not be able to keep up with the amount of work that goes into it, because I haven't even really gotten this one aspect started yet. I know people say this word all the time, niching, but sometimes it's a good thing, to be honest. Me niching what I talk about, me niching what I do for content creation, saying I'm going to put all my focus into the podcast. I'm going to put all my focus into podcasting for other people and like just focus on podcast, like that word right there. That is going to help me feel like I have more freedom to talk about everything in this realm, instead of trying to be like, I romanticize my life. I like coffee. This is how you have a good morning routine. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. This is what I do. And it just can get so much, like you're just like all over the place. If I focus on just putting everything that I want to talk about into my podcast and having people that are just ready to build a life they actually want to be present for, that is where all of my content ideas can flow from. I hope this is making sense. Like, just focusing on one thing to put 100% of your effort into, 100% of your creative juices into, you're going to see more growth and more fun, more everything when you're not spread thin among a million other things you're trying to do. Personally, I have never felt guilty for resting. I don't know. I think that's just part of my personality. I think that I just love to be cozy. I love to do fun things and things that are going to make me feel cozy and good. But I know when I have that tunnel vision, I sure do not rest. I surely do not rest, and that's not okay. So I want to talk about some ways that I have found rest in the middle of my career, in the middle of hobbies that I like, in the middle of just life in general, how I found that rest and that time to do the things that are going to fuel me instead of tear me down. I began to shift my mindset to make sure that I knew that peace was not the opposite of ambition, but it was the foundation. I have to live out of a place of peace and rest to build anything. As a creative, as a podcaster, as an editor, I'm constantly thinking about ways to perfect my craft. I'm constantly thinking about ways to make my business better. And when you are a creative, as most of the people I feel like listen to me are, a lot of you are entrepreneurs, business owners, and all the things. I feel like as creatives, we are constantly thinking of new ways to better ourselves or better our craft or add new things, and doing all of these extracurricular activities on top of what we're already doing. And while that's good, and while it's good to dream and write those things down, when we are constantly thinking about those things and we're never taking our mind off of those and never allowing for ourselves to have creative rest, it will get overwhelming to the point where you don't want to do that thing anymore. It's a good idea and you should do it. But I think sometimes we have to learn what to put on the back burner and what to bring to the front burner. I realize that I will get my best ideas like in the middle of the night. And what's crazy is it will be, I have been asleep for a while and I'll wake up, I have to go to the bathroom, I need to toss, turn, I get hot, whatever. And then I'll have the best creative idea. And it kind of just shows that when you get rest, you have the best ideas. This whole podcast thing came from me having a great idea in the middle of the night as I was getting up to turn my fan on because I was hot. So what I did was I wrote it down in my phone and went back to sleep. And I allowed myself to prioritize that rest. I got that creative idea out of a place of rest. I put it down on paper or on my phone, and then I continued my rest. Just because I got some rest didn't mean that I was done resting. And I think that we have to make sure that we know that just because you feel like you're ready, you feel like you can get up, doesn't mean that your rest is all the way over. And I think for everybody, it's going to be different. For you, it could be, I just need 30 minutes in the middle of the day to read a book or to stare at the wall or whatever, just like not think. But for other people, it could be as soon as I get off from work or whenever I'm done doing my creative job or whatever it is that you do, when I'm done, what I want to do is absolutely nothing to do with that. My husband is also an editor, but he also does his own YouTube and content creation and everything. And he is editing all day long. And then he gets off and he's like, I really don't want to edit this, because he's been creatively editing all day. And so that shows the burnout of using creative juices 24/7, where me, on the other hand, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to sleep. If I wake up, have idea, write it down, I'm going to go back to sleep and I'll get to it another day or I'll get to it tomorrow or whatever the case is. I'm going to give you 3 things that help me maintain my peace, but what I encourage you to do is figure out what helps you maintain your peace. What is going to help you day to day. Like, these are daily things that help you with peace. I want you to write these down or think about them wherever you are. Okay? But I'm going to give you mine. So right off the bat, the very first thing for me that helps me keep peace and helps me to continue to do what I do is reading my Bible and prayer. I have talked about it before, but my relationship with God is the highest priority for me and truly is why I can do what I do today. He inspired it. He helped me figure it all out. He literally is like my foundation. And if I didn't have that, it would be kind of chaotic, to be honest. My next one is taking breaks to walk, to read a book, to binge watch TV, do something that does not require me to be creative. I get to indulge in someone else's creativity. That's why I say watch a TV show or binge watch TikTok, because you're not putting out the creative energy when you're doing that. You are taking a rest from it. I'm talking as if you on the other side of the screen is a creative person or is working a creative job or is building a creative career, or honestly, you could just literally have a hobby that is creative and you just do the hobby. Taking a break from your own creativity to indulge in somebody else's is going to help you stay creative. I know that probably is like the complete opposite of what other people say, but when you're constantly outputting, sometimes it's fun to just like input some other creative juices. input some things that make you happy and some things that you enjoy to do, so that way your mind is taking a break. When I'm watching a show on Netflix, I am not thinking about how can I do yada yada yada. I'm actually involved in my show and listening to my show, so that way my brain is not constantly on my things. And then the last thing that I do is I clean something. A clean house, a clean home, a clean work environment is going to clear up so much space and freedom in your mind. Truly, I will admit my room is usually the messiest part of my house because I'm not in there but to go to sleep. Me and my husband both work from home. We have an office. I also have like my desk. I've moved my desk so many times, but my desk is in our hallway, and my husband's office holds all of our gear. And I just feel like when those are messy, I just can't think. And then when I'm ready to relax and like calm down for the night and just chill out, I don't want my living room to be messy, so I clean my living room a lot. So if I need a creative break, I will clean something. I will just focus on putting things away. I will focus on making sure that things are very much clean. These are things that are going to help protect your peace because you're still ambitious, you're still creative, but you're just allowing yourself to not constantly be that creative. You're not constantly pouring out of an empty cup. I know we say that a lot, but it's true. Don't pour out of an empty cup. So again, those are the things that I do, and I want you guys to write down or think about what you would do. And then I want you to think about the things that you would do boundary-wise. What's going to help you maintain your peace in boundaries? The first thing is strict work hours. This has actually been something that I have been really good at, especially when I have a full day of editing or a full day of a to-do list. When I get to 6 o'clock, I'm like, I'm done. I want to do something else, especially now that it's football season. On Mondays and Thursdays, there's always football games. Fridays, I feel like I can just like chill because it's the weekend. I'm not going to be editing. I'm not going to be working. I'm not going to do anything. And then Sundays, I literally get to just watch football all day long. I'm a football fanatic, and I honestly, it's probably one of the biggest reasons why I love the fall so much, other than the fact that it's the coziest season on earth. But my strict work hours are for my work and my client work. So if I'm working on client work for 8 hours one day, I don't get off at 6 and then say, okay, now it's time for me to do my stuff. I really try to stay within those hours. Even if I'm not working the 10 to 6 hours, I will try to respect the fact that I'm trying to stay in the 8-hour window. So if I start a lot later, like 12, maybe I'll go to 8 and maybe I'll do what I need to do then. But for the most part, I'm trying to be off at 6, to be honest, to be completely honest. The next boundary I have is a non-negotiable. This is not negotiable at all. Rest day. I have broken this a couple of times and have regretted it every time because I felt like it was taking me forever to get back on track and get back to where I wanted to be. So my intentional rest day is Sunday. This is a day where literally I will go to church in the morning and I will come home and I will do absolutely nothing. Maybe I will clean my kitchen. That's usually what I end up cleaning just to like have a fresh start for the week. But I'm doing hobbies, I'm reading, I'm watching football, I'm taking a nap. I am doing all the things that don't require a schedule. I am just chilling. I don't even do content on Sundays. Like the only thing that you'll see on Sundays for me are the podcasts, obviously, but I schedule that beforehand. And I might post like a reel or two, but again, I schedule that beforehand. So I'm not even really on social media on Sundays. That day is so sacred to me. I will not give it up for anything. And yeah, that's just me. Like Sundays, I'm like, I want to go home. I want to go home. I don't want to be anywhere. And then the last thing that I do is I will try to do things outside as much as possible. I have created like a little cute setup outside at I guess it would technically be the back of my house, but it's like the front for everybody else. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but I made this like cute setup out there. The sun is usually on that side longer, so I can sit in the sun. I feel really good out there. There's not as many bugs as there are in the back. Because, oh my gosh, it's just nice to do things outside. I will read my Bible out there. I'll read a book out there. I'll do some admin work out there. It's just really nice to be able to like step outside, get some fresh air, even if I'm still working. It's just a good place. Nature, I find so much peace. And I forgot, I haven't told you guys about my camping trip, but I had an amazing time. Wait, did I tell you about my camping trip? I don't know. I had an amazing time. I feel like I was one of those people that was like, I don't think that I'm ever going camping. Like, that sounds gross and sticky and like, I don't know. But I loved it. I think fall is the perfect time to do it because you don't feel all the sticky grossness. And there wasn't as many bugs where we camped. It was in my same city. So the beach was right there. So we were able to go to the beach and it was just like so nice and so relaxing. And I truly felt so rested. And I think it was just because I was outside and in nature and I kind of unplugged a little bit. Like I wasn't on social media. But yeah, it was just really nice. So I would say a boundary. I don't know if that's even a boundary, but I think that going outside is something that I strive to do daily. And yeah, so I feel like, I guess, I don't know what would the boundary be for that? Like, don't be inside for 24 hours straight. So I don't know, but that's something that I would do. So to wrap this whole episode up, I feel like we should just put some blanket statements out there, okay? The first one being, you can be cozy and successful. The second one being, you can be peaceful and ambitious. And the third one being, you can build something big without losing the little moments that make life worth living. And again, this podcast is a podcast where we build a life that we actually want to be present for. And if we are building businesses or social media platforms or creative jobs, whatever it is, whatever you do, if we're building those and it's stressing us out and we are getting burnt out by those things, we are not building something that we actually want to be present for. We are just building burnout. That's literally what we're doing. So this is your reminder that peace and purpose are meant to coexist and you don't have to choose between them. You just have to have a little bit of discipline. So that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching and for listening and for being here. Spotify and Apple, I love you guys. Trying to do like a little heart with my hands, even though most of you are probably listening. I absolutely love you guys. You guys are doing the thing and I am just seeing like the retention. I have so many listeners over there and followers. It's crazy. I didn't even realize. So shout out to you guys for being an amazing community and growing and listening all the way through. You guys are just amazing. I love you guys. So with that being said, don't forget to rate the podcast on Spotify and Apple because that is going to not only show that this podcast is like a good podcast to listen to, but it also helps me to kind of like hone in on what you guys want to hear, because as much as I love to yap and as much as I can pick topics and talk about it all the time, this podcast is for you and for us to learn and grow and build things together. So make sure you rate it. And like I said, rate it honestly. I would tell you to rate it 5 stars, but I want honest reviews and honest feedback. So rate it what you think this podcast is. And I think that's it. So I guess like, share, comment, subscribe, follow me on all the social media platforms. Everything is always in the show notes. And until next week, you guys, bye everybody.